The year was 1910.
William Howard Taft, a portly, jovial personality with an infectious chuckle, was the successor Theodore Roosevelt picked to carry on the policies started by him.
The first horror movie was produced by Edison Studios based on Mary Shelley's 1818 novel, Frankenstein. The Boy Scouts of America was founded by William D. Boyce on February the 8th, following his famous visit to London in 1909, where, lost in the fog, he was assisted to his destination by an unknown scout. Halley's Comet became visible with the naked eye on April the 10th, and on May 19th the Earth passed through the comet's tail. The winter of 1909 and 1910 and the following spring and summer were dry, really dry. Fires sparked throughout Idaho, Montana, and Washington, ignited from locomotive sparks, lightning, and other sources. By mid-August, there may have been as many as 3,000 individual fires burning in the area. Then on Saturday, August 20th, hurricane-force winds arrived, and the great fire known as the Big Blow-Up combined and intensified those smaller fires and burned 4,700 square miles of forest and towns with unimaginable intensity. Forester Edward Stahl is quoted to have described the flames, fanned by a tornadic wind so violent that the flames flattened out ahead, swooping to earth in great darting curves, truly a veritable red demon from hell. At the time, the U.S. Forest Service was just 5 years old and struggling to find enough men to fight fires that were already burning. Many of those men had little forestry or firefighting experience. President Taft authorized 4,000 military troops to aid the effort, including 7 companies from the U.S. Army's 25th Infantry Regiment, known as the Buffalo Soldiers. At least 85 people perished in the fire, some entire towns were destroyed, and a large portion of Wallace was burned. Smoke from the fires reached New England, and soot traveled all the way to the country of Greenland. Hiking the Pulaski Tunnel Trail is an immersive opportunity to think about life as it was more than 100 years ago. The National Forest in northern Idaho remain a place of incredible beauty today, where the town of Wallace serves as a gateway to the outdoors and a window to the past. It is here that we find the story of leadership and survival in the person of U.S. Forest Service Ranger Ed Pulaski, or Big Ed. Pulaski later wrote about the fires, saying, "That afternoon the wind swept the mountains in circles and joined the fires. The whole world seemed to us men back in those mountains to be aflame. Many thought it really was the end of the world." He continued, "I got on my horse and went where I could gathering men. Most of them were unfamiliar with the country, and I knew that if they ever got out, they would have to be led out. But those that I got together were so panic-stricken, it was very difficult to make them understand what I wanted them to do." He succeeded, though, and managed to round up about 45 men, gathered supplies, and raced to the abandoned prospect mine. Big Ed also recounted that one man tried to make a rush outside, which would have meant certain death. So he drew his revolver and said, "The first man who tries to leave this tunnel, I will shoot." Fortunately, he didn't have to use this gun. The men were in a panic, some crying, some praying. Soon many of them were unconscious from heat, smoke, and fire gas. Around 5 o'clock the next morning, the men began to regain consciousness. In the end, all but 5 of the men had survived. The fire was finally extinguished when a cold front swept in, bringing steady rain and some early snowfall. Ed Pulaski has since been widely celebrated as a hero for his efforts. The mine tunnel in which he and his crew sheltered from the fire, now known as Pulaski Tunnel, is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. This story offers an amazing gateway to study the U.S. Forestry Service its policy influences around the world, and the lives and times of people in the early 1900s. If you find yourself near Wallace, Idaho, definitely take some time and hike the 4-mile out and back trail. It's well maintained and there are lots of placards describing the event. I believe you'll enjoy it. Happy trails. So I saw a lady earlier that said that, well, she lives in the area. She said there's a cougar that lives on this trail. So, make a little noise. They don't like to be surprised, yada yada. And up at the top here, at the summit, I met some people and they mentioned that, hey, somebody said there's a cougar that lives on this trail. And I said, yeah, that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that, and it was frightening, da 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 da. And I've been working on this joke, so when I heard about the cougar, right? So I said, yeah, I'm from Florida. Cougar has a whole different meaning there. And the guy says, kid you not, he says, yeah, you have panthers, right? Not what I meant. So funny. I guess California has those kind of cougars too, like Florida. Anyway, happy hiking.